Eye on the World, weeknights at 9 on Vermont's news station, WDEV AM and FM, and streaming at WDEVradio.com.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to WDEV@radiovermont.com.
The energy. We walked around for 35 minutes just in the parking lot looking for this car. The passion. UVM schedules the way they do to get as high a seed as possible in the NCAA tournament and to get as much tournament prep as they can because they're not going to get it from their league. The opinions on all your favorite teams. The organization should be taking care of Matt rather than Matt taking care of the organization.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? We are back on a Monday here on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. We go up until 7 o'clock, and then it's Jazz with George Thomas. I hope all of you had a great holiday weekend. I know I certainly did. Went back to Albany, did a bunch of stuff with the family, saw Jess and her family. Did end up seeing a couple of friends. I was lamenting the fact that as I got older, it's harder to see people you grew up with. Got one friend who came by surprise. I wasn't expecting. Another friend who stepped up and came and saw my dad's gig because my dad plays music at bars and stuff. So my dad performed at a brewery, and one of my best friends came by that. So it ended up being a better weekend even than I was expecting to. And I hope all of you had a great holiday as well. But the batteries are recharged, and we are here. We got a ton to get to today. A lot of local stuff, right? Patriots didn't play yesterday. So we're going to spend this Monday. We are going to hit on the Patriots, of course. But we're going to spend this Monday more UVM basketball talk, a disappointing weekend in the Bahamas, and UVM men's soccer. That's right. You all want me to be a soccer fan? You were questioning, why are we not in on the UVM run? We are in. Catamounts are headed to the Elite Eight for the first time in 33 years. They dismantled UCLA on Saturday night at Virtue Field 3-0. And head coach Rob Dow is going to be with us at about 6:10 today. You can get in on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line, 802-585-3026. That's your locally owned Napa stores in Waterbury and Morrisville. You can also watch the show live every day on Facebook Live and on YouTube.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
The opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. You know, the Patriots lost on Thursday to the Minnesota Vikings, and they also got zero help yesterday. This was about as bad a week as you could have if you're the New England Patriots. This was the week from hell. The Pats lost their game on Thursday on Thanksgiving night and got zero help yesterday. Miami won yesterday, right? They are now 8-3. They remain on top of the division, and currently they have the tiebreaker on you. So they're 2 games better than you record-wise, and they have the tiebreaker. So any pipe dream you have at the division, that is now even harder to get, even more of a long shot, looks even more impossible. So in the division, you appear to be screwed. Then the Jets won, and the Jets now, despite you beating them twice, are 7-5 and ahead of you. Buffalo won, even though imperfectly on Thursday against the Lions. They remain ahead of you. So you are back into the AFC East Division cellar. And I got news for you. At week 13, you're not going from 4th place to 1st. So if you had any inkling that maybe the Pats could squeeze out a division title, if you were delusional enough to think that was a possibility, it's not. So bad news there within the division. And then as far as the wild card goes, you were hurt there as well, right? Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets all won. 2 of those 3 are going to be battling with you for wild card positioning. So them winning, not good. Cincinnati won. They are ahead of you. The Chargers won. They have the same record as you. You now, if you are the New England Patriots, have no margin for error. As of this point, the Patriots are out of the playoffs, and they have no margin for error. And that is not me being a shock jock. That is not me being an alarmist. That is not me causing for clickbait. That is a disappointing reality. The New England Patriots now are in a position where they have no margin for error. Your letdowns this season have put you in that position. Your week 1 disappointment on South Beach helped put you in this spot. Last week against Minnesota, a game you very easily could have won, helped put you in this spot. Your awful performance on Monday night against the Bears helped put you in this spot. That is why you are here. As of now, there are 9 AFC teams battling for 7 playoff spots, and you are on the outside looking in. You are on the outside looking in. Text in, Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, Brady. This is Nate. I have zero idea what a catch is anymore after what I thought is a blown call on Hunter Henry's called back touchdown. I don't think there was enough video evidence to turn that over. Always seems like they're looking for something. The whole point of adjusting the catch rule was to avoid just that. I agree. I think the Patriots got screwed on that play. I believe Hunter Henry scored a touchdown. And then you juxtapose it to what was going around social media from a few weeks prior where Travis Kelce had a ball that looked even more questionable against the Chargers, but was ruled a touchdown. There is not consistency in officiating. But you know what? There's not consistency in officiating across the board, right? Major League Baseball has a defined strike zone. It has a strike zone in the rule book. And every ump has their own zone and their own interpretation of the zone. So I do believe the Patriots got screwed. I do believe the catch rule remains confusing. But I don't believe, and I'll tell you later why, I don't believe that that call is the reason the Patriots lost. I think both things can be true. The Pats were screwed, but that is not the reason that they lost. Kyle gets in on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. Brady, do you think the Patriots are going to make the playoffs? No, I don't. No. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news because I want the Patriots to make the playoffs really, really badly, but I believe the Patriots are going to miss the playoffs for the second time in 3 years. And this isn't that big a revelation. I've been telling you for months I thought the Patriots were going to miss the playoffs. Now, there was a small break where the Pats developed some momentum since he started slow. I did start to have some optimism that maybe they could beat my projection. But by and large, since the schedule came out, I've been telling you the Patriots were going to miss the playoffs. I thought maybe there was a moment where they could eke in, but I don't think so now. 9 teams battling for 7 spots. I don't think the Patriots are going to be one of those 7 left standing. Let's just play this out. Okay, let's play this out. The Patriots are currently 6-5. And I'll ask you, do you think the Patriots are going to make the playoffs? And you can listen to what I'm saying and base your answer on this if you need to. The Patriots are currently 6-5. They likely need to win 10 games in order to get to the playoffs. So that means they need to win 4 of their last 6 to get to 10-7, right? To get to 10 wins, they need to win 4 of their last 6. They've got in those 6 games, Buffalo twice, at Arizona, at Vegas, home against Miami, and home against Cincy. Show me the guaranteed home run 4 victories that you feel confident the Patriots getting. Right? Patriots need to go 4-2 in their last 6. Tell me where there are 4 guaranteed victories. Right? I believe they'll beat Arizona. That team is a mess. But of the remaining 5 games, show me where there are 3 guaranteed victories. And this is the problem. Look, the Patriots can beat Buffalo. I believe they can. I believe they can beat Miami. I believe they can beat Cincy. I believe they can beat each of those teams. But can they beat any of them? Can they beat all of them? Which is pretty close to what's going to happen. Going to have to happen. And all of a sudden, Vegas is out here winning 2 straight and putting up 40 points yesterday on the road in Seattle. And they look better than they did a few weeks ago. No, I don't think the Patriots are going to make the playoffs. I don't. They got to win 4 of their last 6. I don't see where there are 4 guaranteed victories. Again, can they beat all of these teams on their schedule? Yes. Can they beat all of them at once like they're going to need to? That I think is no. Right? I don't think the Patriots can beat the Bills when the Bills play close to a perfect game. If the Bills play like they're supposed to, the Patriots cannot beat them. So I think those 2 are tough to get. Maybe they can beat Miami. Maybe they can beat Cincy, but it just feels like there's too much to do and there's too much of an uphill climb. Tex says, tank the season and go for the draft. That makes absolutely no sense. The Patriots already have 6 wins. Even if they lost out and went 6-11, they would not be in a position where you would consider the tanking to be a success. Like, if we're tanking for the draft, you're thinking we need pick 1 through 4, and the Patriots have 0 chance of getting those. So, no, tanking makes 0 sense. Try to make the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to. Tex says, Brady, my mom and I are listening this afternoon as she awaits her physical therapist. She says she believes UVM basketball is going to rebound and have their usual strong campaign moving forward. That's actually from last week. Sorry. Peter says, I do get a chance to listen online. The Patriots are better than how bad we thought they might be 2 months ago. The Patriots, I thought the Patriots played well in a lot of ways on Thursday against Minnesota. I think Mac Jones played his best game of the year. The offense was humming in a lot of different ways, but the Patriots continued to beat themselves, and ultimately they've done that too many times this season. Bad in the red zone again, allowed a kick return. Yes, the call went against them, but it's just not. Look, I said they needed to force Kirk Cousins into a big mistake. They did that. Jonathan Jones had an interception returned deep in Vikings territory. They had to kick a field goal. Just, we've seen the Patriots beat themselves or not be able to capitalize too many times this year. And it's been disappointing. And I believe ultimately that is going to cost them a chance at the playoffs. I could see them finishing 9-8 and missing the playoffs. I told you all along, right? Go back to the minute we knew who was on the schedule. I told you I thought the Patriots were 7 wins at the low end, 10 wins at the extreme high end, and they were probably more likely an 8 or a 9 win team. And that's exactly what they're headed for. If the Patriots finish 7-10, I would think that would be too low. If they finish 10-7, I think that would be too high. They're going to finish 8-9 or 9-8, and they're going to miss the playoffs. They're going to have to pull a rabbit out of their hat in order for that not to be the case. And they're going to have to beat Buffalo 1 of 2 times. And they're probably going to have to do it this week because it's at home. Right? They're going to have to do it this week at home. They're not going to beat Buffalo on the road. It's just not going to happen. So, yes, they're going to beat Arizona, but I don't know where 3 other wins are coming from. No, Kyle, to answer your question, I don't believe the Patriots are going to make the playoffs. It is the Brady Farkas Show here on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. We're going to talk UVM men's soccer with Rob Dow, the head coach of the Catamounts. He'll be with us in about 25 minutes. He'll be with us at about 6:10. But I want to talk UVM men's basketball here. And I want to come at this from a slightly different direction. I want to play a new game on the text line. 802-585-3026. What are now realistic expectations for Catamount men's basketball? Right? That's my question to you. What are realistic expectations now for this program this season? As you by now know, UVM went down to the Bahamas in search of victories. They go 1-2 in the Bahamas, and they come back now at 2-7 overall. And that is certainly a far cry than what we were expecting or what we thought was possible. I thought, even if you looked at it pessimistically, that UVM could come back at 4-5 or so. I thought there was a chance they could come back over 500 from this first 9 games. I thought 4-5 was probably fairly pessimistic. 2-7 blows that projection out of the water. That's where they are. Cats beat Ball State on Friday, blew a double-digit lead to UNC Wilmington on Saturday and lost, and then got blasted by Long Beach State yesterday. So again, 1-2 in the Bahamas, 2-7 overall. My question to you is, what is a realistic expectation for this program moving forward? Travis wants to know, realistic in the short or the long term for this season. For this season. That's for this year. What are realistic expectations? I believe that UVM, and still you, I believe that we, the fans, should still want and expect this team to win the America East Conference and win the America East Conference title. I'm telling you that right now. The expectations for me, realistically, are still win the America East regular season title and win the America East Conference title. Look, my hope of them winning a bunch of non-league games, rolling through the league and getting a 12 seed, that's done, right? That dream is dead. But that said, my standards for the program are not lowering, and yours shouldn't either. My standard now for this program, fair or unfair, is win the regular season title and then win the tournament title in a tournament that is played on your home floor. I am not lowering the standard. The season has been a disappointment to this point. The team is not as good as we thought right now. But as we move forward for this season, this team, I still believe it should be a realistic expectation by them in that locker room and by us, the fans, that they win the league title and they win the tournament title and they get back to the NCAA tournament. And yes, they'll get a 15 or 16 seed in the tournament and they'll draw a terrible matchup. And that's going to be disappointing to me personally because I now want and expect more. But it's still good for the players in the program and still good for the program as a whole to accomplish those goals. That should be a goal. That should be the goal. Win the regular season title in the league and win the tournament title. And everything else that happens, so be it. But your expectations and your standards should not change. The question is for me now, how do you make this a reality? Okay, I've got this team. I've still got the expectation that they win the league title and get to the NCAA tournament. It is now about how do we make this a reality? And I've got a bunch of texts coming in on this, and I'm going to get to them as soon as I'm done. Okay? For me to make my goal a reality, the next several non-league games have to be about developing answers. I still want to win. Trust me, I want to win. I'm not going to jeopardize my chance at winning. But if my goal now is to just win the league title and get to the tournament via the league, the next several non-league games have to be about developing answers and developing solutions. I've got a couple of things that UVM needs to address if they're going to make the run that I think they should be making through the course of the season. Let's see if can we get a little basketball music, people? Yeah, here we go. Give me the music. I always need the same music when we talk hoops. All right, first on the list of how UVM can make my goal a reality, they've got to fix the defense. They've got to fix the defense. Offense is a huge issue on this team. But the reason why it's a huge issue, in large part, is because the defense is such a big issue. And it's shocking how hard a time UVM is having at stopping anybody. Listen to this. John Becker's programs, their hallmark is defense. Their hallmark is toughness. They play grinded out games. Well, guess what? UVM is 278th in the nation in scoring defense. So think about this logically. The other team scores and is scoring at will on UVM, right? So as a result, the other team scores. UVM has to take the ball out under the hoop. The other team gets fully back on defense, and UVM is playing constantly offensively in the half court. That creates all kinds of problems, right? When are teams at their best? Teams are at their best when they can get out in transition, when they can run, when I can catch you in a 4-on-3 or in a 3-on-2, when I can get you moving and get you out of place, and now I can swing the ball around and get wide open good shots. I can get you trailing. I can get you in foul trouble. All that happens off your defense. If you can't stop anybody and you allow the other team to just backpedal back on defense, get set up, and everybody on your side is walking up the court, and then everybody's standing around stationary in the half court for 18 seconds, that is doing us no good. Okay? And you look at the schedule UVM has played. Here is exactly how this goes. Cal State Fullerton scores at will. They're bigger than you, they're quicker than you, and they're longer than you. You have to play the whole game in the half court. And now, because we're in the half court going slow, I can't take you off the dribble. I can't get to the bucket. I can't get to the foul line. I can't draw a double team because I can't beat you one-on-one off the dribble. And I can't kick to a wide open shooter. This has been happening far too often. Iona scores at will. Then they're able to score, set up their press, take us time out there. We can't get up to the court, and we can't get up into the half court in time anyways. And then once we get there, it's just us trying to beat you one-on-one off the dribble, and we don't have the ability to do that. So UVM's defense not being very good is contributing to a lot of issues with their offense not being very good, right? The teams they've played are big and long. UVM's not taking them off the dribble. As a result, all UVM can do is walk the ball up the court, float the ball around the perimeter a few times, and then end up with a forced 3 with 6 seconds left on the shot clock. They're not getting a lot of good shots. They're not getting a lot of open shots because their defense is not creating them. In the past, UVM gets a stop, gets out in transition, boom, wide open 3, Ernie Duncan, right? Long rebound, guy leaking out in transition, wide open 3, Kurt Steidl. UVM's not getting that this year. That's what they're going to need. 278 nationally in scoring defense. There's only 360 teams. 278 nationally in scoring defense. That's not going to help you win a lot of games, and it's not going to be a cure for your ailing offense here. UVM is having trouble on offense because of their defense. If you want to expand it out to look at the offense further as to what UVM needs to fix, I got to find a way to get Finn Sullivan going. This team cannot be great if Finn Sullivan is not great. This team cannot accomplish my expectations still of winning the America East Conference regular season and winning the conference tournament on my home floor if he's not great. I told you Finn Sullivan needed to average 14 points a game this year. Well, guess what? He's gotten double digits in 3 out of 9 games. They need more from him. He is averaging less than 8 points per game. Finn Sullivan is shooting 28% from three-point range. He's too good to put up productivity like that, or to have rather a lack of productivity. If this team wants to accomplish my goal, and if this team is going to be great in the league, Finn Sullivan's got to play better. I trust that he will. I trust all these guys are going to play better as we get towards league play. But if you're looking for one guy to help jumpstart things, Finn Sullivan is that guy. 28% from 3. Not going to cut it. 8 points per game, less than that. Not going to cut it. He's also your primary ball handler and he's got more turnovers than assists. That's not great, right? We can't have games where he's turned it over 5 times, 7 times. Again, as the competition gets a little less, those numbers will get better. I fully anticipate that. But you look at the raw numbers right now for Finn Sullivan, they are not particularly encouraging. They need him to be better. 3, I guess. Defense 1, Finn Sullivan 2. 3, they got to get something. They need to get some grown man production out of Perry Smith Jr. And the non-league, in these next non-league games, Perry Smith Jr.'s got to grow up big. Because by the time the league comes, I need him to be a man in the middle. I like his game. He's a freshman. I think he plays hard. I think he's working at it. I like Perry Smith Jr., but they need him to grow up faster than he's ready for, okay? Nick Fiorillo's hurt. We don't know how long he's out for. That's your starting center usually. We don't know how long he's out for, but Perry Smith Jr. is going to have to step up. He's going to have to fill the void. He's playing 15 minutes a game. He's averaging 2 points and 2 rebounds. I don't need him to all of a sudden go 20-20 on us, but can he get by league play to 6.7 rebounds a game? 6.6 rebounds a game. Can he be a major contributing factor? They're going to need something from him. He's going to play more. If Fiorillo is out for an extended period of time, they're going to get extended minutes out of Perry Smith Jr. He needs to be something on the court. He needs to be productive. He cannot just take up space and play minutes. He's going to have to perform. Robin Duncan's not a scorer. Dylan Penn's not a shooter. They got other guys on this team that aren't doing certain roles. Perry Smith cannot go out there and be no points and 1 rebound in 18 minutes. They're going to need 6 points, 6 rebounds from him by league play. The next couple of games, non-league, they're all about now getting ready for the league. And Perry Smith Jr. has got to be a big part of that formula. And then finally, they've got to shoot it better from 3. And I'm not telling you anything that you don't know here. As this team comes back north and has more regionalized travel and is playing lesser competition, I do believe they're going to shoot better. I was worried last year when they didn't shoot well, and they caught fire once the non-league was over. They're going to be at home more. They're going to practice more. They're going to play in their home gym more. They're going to play lesser competition with worse defenses, worse offenses, so their defense is going to look better, so they will get more of those easy shot opportunities. I trust the team is going to shoot better, but they're 275th in the nation in three-point shooting percentage. 275th. Also, not great, Bob. Out of 360 teams, you're 275th, shooting 30% from 3. They've got to be better. They don't have a Ryan Davis in the front court. I'm talking about Perry Smith Jr. I'm hoping to get 6 points a game out of my 5-man. Okay? I'm hoping to get 6 points a game out of him. I mean, that's it. This team is not going to produce massive amounts inside. If they're going to be a perimeter-oriented team, they better start being good from the perimeter. Because 275th nationally, that is not going to cut it. They're also 275th in free throw attempts per game. So they're not getting to the line often, and they're not hitting from 3 often. That's another reason why their offense is massively sputtering. They haven't had any good places to turn. They're going to have to shoot better. So play better defense. That will lead to an improvement in everything I'm talking about. You play better defense, you create better shot opportunities, you play faster, you get more shots, more possessions. You get the other team on its heels. You'll shoot better from 3. You'll get them chasing. They'll get to the line more. So that does lead into the other. Defense leads into offense. They also got to get Finn Sullivan going, and they need to help Perry Smith grow up fast, because I don't know anything about Nick Fiorillo's injury. But I know I don't like when I hear vague terms like lower body injury. Perry Smith's going to have to grow up. 802-585-3026. I've got a bunch of texts from all of you. I've got probably 10 texts, your expectations for this program. I'm going to go through them all next before we get to Rob Dow here on WDEV.
This is WDEV, Vermont's news station, owned and operated by the Radio Vermont Group. From the top of Sugarbush, 96.1 FM, WDEV Warren and Waitsfield, 96.5 W243 Barrie, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, along with our founding station, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury Montpelier, streaming at WDEVradio.com. 91 years of serving Vermont, the friendly pioneer, WDEV.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Dell Small Business.
I'm Steve Futterman in Los Angeles. Life in prison without the possibility of parole. That's the sentence for the 19-year-old white gunman who killed 10 blacks at a Buffalo supermarket earlier this year.
19-year-old Peyton Gendron pleaded guilty to 25 counts, including murder and hate-motivated terrorism. He's expected to spend the rest of his life in prison. Erie County District Attorney John Flynn.
No individual in the history of the state of New York has been found guilty of that domestic terrorism charge motivated by hate until today.
A sentencing date has been set for February 15th. Federal prosecutors, meanwhile, could still seek the death penalty for additional charges Gendron faces. Steve Dorsey, CBS News.
This is a big day for online retailers. It's Cyber Monday, but Bert Flickinger with Strategic Resource Group says don't buy, wait.
The shoppers who wait the longest, wait beyond Cyber Monday and Cyber Week today, will be rewarded.
Former President Trump is being attacked for hosting a dinner with a white supremacist and anti-Semite who denies the Holocaust. CBS's Stephen Portnoy.
The former president says he knew nothing about the guest at dinner. And Nick Fuentes also says he doesn't think Trump knew who he was. But the criticism of the Mar-a-Lago meeting with a man who's espoused the Great Replacement theory and has often spoken of white genocide is intensifying. Former Vice President Mike Pence says Trump should apologize, that he was wrong to give Fuentes a seat at his table. Here at the White House, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre weighed in.
This is something that we condemn and we will continue to speak out against.
A busy day in northern Minnesota today. CBS's Jennifer Kuiper.
More than 100 people became trapped on Minnesota's Upper Red Lake after an ice chunk broke free. The Beltrami County Sheriff's Office had to work with other first responders to rescue the people who were ice fishing when it happened. Officials even directed anglers to the southeast edge of the lake where a temporary ice bridge was set up over the open water. All have been safely evacuated from the ice.
There are some tough conditions in many parts of the nation. The Weather Channel's Jim Cantori.
In Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, up in western Tennessee, very high confidence of a tornado there in the Mississippi Delta. This will be Tuesday afternoon, right into the evening hours.
President Biden is setting his priorities for the final month before Republicans take control of the House. CBS's Weijia Jiang.
The top of the president's list is keeping the government open. Both he and his senior advisors have said as much. And they also want to focus on maintaining funding to Ukraine and funding for states that have been through disasters like recent hurricanes.
At the World Cup, Brazil and Portugal have advanced. This is CBS News.
Dell's Cyber Monday business sales starts now with up to 50% off on select business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
Hunger Mountain Co-op has been Montpelier's community-owned natural grocery store since 1972. The co-op features nearly 3,000 local products, including fresh produce, house-made prepared foods, artisanal cheeses, distinctive wines, and handcrafted baked goods. The co-op's purpose is deeply rooted in our belief that good food helps create sustainable local food systems and vibrant, healthy communities. Hunger Mountain Co-op is located at 623 Stonecutters Way, Montpelier, and is open daily 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Online at hungermountain.coop. Everyone is welcome.
We make a gravy from the drippings and have it with mashed potatoes and the veggies and all the fixings.
Bill McKenzie talks about McKenzie hams.
Well, first off, they start with a quality fresh ham. It's trimmed, and the curing itself is a overnight process. From there, they go into the smokehouse, and then they, after they're cured and smoked, they go in, they're packaged and put in the box to be shipped to the stores. Well, you should choose McKenzie ham because you certainly have all your guests raving about the taste and the quality of the ham.
McKenzie, wherever fine meat
seats are sold. Union Mutual encourages you to take a few easy steps to maintain a safe and warm home this winter. Move blankets, curtains, books, and other flammable material away from heat sources and store firewood away from the wood stove. Only dispose of ashes outdoors and in a metal container with a lid. Union Mutual, providing home, auto, and business insurance through independent, locally owned agencies for over 140 years. Find an agent at unionmutual.com.
Hi, this is Anson Tebbets, co-host of For the Birds, heard Saturdays on WDEV. Each week, Chip Darmstadt and I discuss bird sightings, bird counts, and activity at your feeder. You also can listen anytime to podcasts on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Join us Saturdays at 7:30 and 12:15 for the Birds. 28 years on WDEV AM and FM and streaming at WDEVradio.com.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. We just talked a lot about UVM hoops and what the expectation should be for this team this year. I'm going to answer all of your texts on this. Literally, I think I've got 10 text messages I'm just going to run through in order. And then Rob Dow, the UVM men's soccer coach, is going to join us in a couple of minutes, talk about his team, who's meeting expectations and going above and beyond them as he's got his group in the Elite Eight. So let's get to what you all had to say here on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. Brian, this team will lose 3 to 7 conference games and likely won't go deep in the conference tournament. This team will lose between 3 and 7 conference games. That's a huge range, Brian. Like, that's the difference between 9 and 7 and 13 and 3. 9 and 7 would be a massive letdown. 13 and 3, I think, would be pretty darn good. So that's like a little hard to differentiate there, but I'm just going to go with what I've been saying all along. UVM is going to win at least 12 games within the America East Conference season. Right? I think 12 and 4 in the league is the floor for this team, despite how it has looked thus far, despite how awful it has looked offensively, despite the defense between being 278th nationally in scoring defense. I believe this team's floor is 12 and 4 within the league. And 12 and 4, I believe, would put you at minimum in the league semifinal, at the minimum, the league Final Four. So my expectation, though, as I just said, 12 and 4 at least in the league, and I expect them to be in the America East Conference title game, and I expect them to win it. Now, 12 and 4 is the floor. I'm hoping they can get to 13 and 3. 13 and 3 just might win you the league regular season title like I want, and would get them, hopefully, the number 1 seed. Logan says, Brady, it's not the number of losses that concern me. It's the blowout losses that we aren't used to seeing. I trust some home court time will help Coach Becker right the ship, but this isn't the quality of team we've been spoiled with. We can win the AE, but it's an uphill fight right now. That whole text is a very smart take. That is a very smart take. Logan's right. Right now, this isn't the quality of team that we're used to. And it makes sense. When you lose Ryan Davis and Ben Shungo, the 2 best players in the league, when you lose them, when you lose 4 starters in 1 year, you are going to see a drop-off. And you are going to see some growing pains. And maybe I was naive to think that they could. No, you know what? I wasn't naive. I knew it could be a struggle. I just thought it would be more of a back-and-forth struggle. I didn't think they'd be 2 and 7. I thought maybe they'd be, 7 and 8 or 6 and, or 7 and 8 in the non-league, but I thought they might go every other here. They're going a bunch of losses at the beginning, and that's what surprises me. But I knew there'd be growing pains. Logan, you are right. The blowout losses, they're certainly different. You've played 9 games and you've lost by 20 points or more 4 times. St. Mary's, Iona, Yale, Long Beach State, that is embarrassing, and that is different. It's not something we're accustomed to seeing, but I do believe, like you, they can win the America East title, but it is an uphill battle, and they have a lot of things right now that need to be fixed. Matt says, I think being the second best team in the conference is much more realistic at this point. Bryant is off to a nice start. I don't think we compete with them at this point. Gotta hope UVM turns it around, though. Now, Bryant's good, and the hype on them is justified, but they are playing a very soft non-league schedule. They beat Syracuse on the road at Syracuse. That's a big win for that program, and I don't discount that, but they are playing a very soft schedule. They're playing multiple, Division III teams and NIA teams at the beginning of the season here. Jim, let's reassess once the team has had some home rest time and, more importantly, practice time. Then let's see what they do down the non-conference stretch. Jim, the show is today. I can't wait to reassess where this program is at. I do believe practice time will help, gym time will help, non-travel time will help, more of a routine will help. I do believe they will have time to get answers before the league starts, but I can't just not do the show until that day comes. Mark in Essex. I'm hoping for them to be 500 at best, but hoping for better. 500 overall. That is interesting. I mean, let's just say UVM goes, I think they'll get over 500. Let's just say, let's be really negative on this. Let's say they go 5-9 in the non-league. If they go 13-3 in the league, then they'll be 18-12. So they're going to get over 500. Peter says, hope to get hot by the conference tournament time and sneak into the big dance winning the tournament. I think that's fair, but I think it's more than just get hot. I think that they're just going to be good by league play. I think figure it out, the remaining non-conference games, right? I don't have the order in my head, right? But they've got NVU Linden, which I don't count tomorrow. But then, Toledo is in here, they're good, and Dartmouth is in here, and they're very beatable, and Colgate, who, by the way, beat Syracuse, although Syracuse also not very good this year. So, and again, Miami, that's going to be a loss. So just start to get right over the course of the rest of the non-league portion of your schedule, and then just be good and ironed out by the league. Now, Nate, I'd be shocked if they win the America East this season. They don't look right. Perhaps there's still time to work on it, but even teams like Maine look better. Maine had won 4 straight. I'm actually with Nate on that. I do think they can win the league, and I think they should win the league, and that should be the expectation, but it is not a cakewalk. The league may not have a whole lot of great teams, but the garbage at the bottom is getting better. Maine is better. I think Albany is building something. I don't think they're very good right now, but they are building something. UMass Lowell is supposed to be pretty good. Bryant's supposed to be good. Obviously, we know that. UMBC, we'll see where they're at. A team that was in the conference final a year ago. So I do think, and look, Hartford's gone. So that was a slop team that's taken out. So I can see the league having some better depth to it. Another texter, UVM is doomed this year. Build the program. Well, we are building the program. This isn't the NFL where you get to just tank for the number 1 draft pick. Building the program is winning as many games as you can, trying to get to the tournament, and then doing your best to impress some recruits along the way. So, yes, that's all the same. And one more. Travis, expect to win the conference, be a 12 seed, and continue to grow depth in the program. Well, that's not going to happen anymore. The idea of getting a 12 seed, that's done. That is dead and gone. Right? UVM, at best, is a 14 seed moving forward. At best. I would say it's likely even more that they're a 15. I mean, if they go unbeaten in the league and beat Bryant twice and be 16-0 in the league and then sweep through the conference tournament at 19-0 and they've beaten maybe Toledo, who's pretty good, ever so slightly could they get above a 14. But I think their fate is sealed. A bunch of blowout losses early in the season against all the good teams on their schedule, that's not going to weigh well in the eyes of a committee. So I think they're headed for a 15 or 16 at this point. I think 14 is probably the highest we're looking at, because I just think UVM is going to continue to stub their toe in the rest of the non-conference. I'm going to talk with Coach Brennan tomorrow, and I don't know. Maybe we'll play the full interview. I'm talking to him in the morning, but maybe we'll play the full interview in the afternoon. It depends, because I want to hear what Coach Brennan has to say about everything, because we haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks. He's been watching, taking notes on everything just like I have. We'll see what happens with that. We have Bob Sosi tomorrow live at 5:45. Coach Brennan, maybe we'll play back the whole thing in the 6 o'clock hour. We'll see. But right now, speaking of UVM, let's get to the man of the hour, the program of the hour. That's Rob Dow, the head coach of the Catamount men's soccer team. UVM beats UCLA 3-0 on Saturday night at Virtue Field. 3 second-half goals.
Here's Bazzini around Grassi. Bazzini with his left! Yanni Bazzini, the man of the moment. A redshirt sophomore with a moment of brilliance, and it puts Vermont ahead 1-0.
That made it 1-0. Final score was 3-0. That was the Sweet 16, and on to the Elite Eight we go. The best Catamount season in more than 30 years. The Elite Eight game will be against Syracuse, 2 p.m. on Saturday, and Coach Dow is with us now. Coach, congratulations. Thanks for being with us. How are you?
Doing great. A lot of reasons to be doing great. Brady, thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you being with us. Look, 3 NCAA tournament games, all 3 games your team has scored 3 goals. I don't know a ton about soccer, but that's like scoring 130 every night in the NBA. Your team, offensive juggernaut.
Yeah, and second half too, to be able to, I think, execute a game plan, but to wear teams down and get to the second half and continue to put pressure on their opponents has proven to be successful here late in the season. I think a lot of things have been good in terms of the health of our team. We're relatively healthy at this time of the year. That certainly helps, but we got firepower. You need Bazzini, the other night, and Alex Nagy, and so many guys, so many different players are scoring, from Max Murray, Joey Morrison, when we can spread that, that production apart, it's hard for teams to defend.
Help me put this run into context, because the initial reaction is, Vermont's in the Elite Eight. What a plucky underdog story. But that's selling you guys short, considering you got up as high as number 8 in the country. But I also don't want to be like, hey, they were number 8 in the country, so it was a given. They should be in this spot. Help me put into context what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm trying to put it in context, too, because I keep, the history of this program, the 1989 team, made it to the Elite Eight. We look up to them so much. I'm like, wait a minute, we're going into the Elite Eight,
yeah.
But I just think, being humble, focus on the game plan, focus on how we can continue to execute our plan well. Self-confidence goes towards it. But, it's been pretty special to be at Virtue Field on Saturday night with that crowd and the SD Ireland, holiday truck in the background. It was very special, and it's one to remember. And we're really lucky to have that type of support in the community.
It always makes me nervous when there is a big game on campus at a time when the student population largely isn't there, right? It's Thanksgiving weekend, and I'm like, okay, how many people are going to come? The students are not. Don't sell out. Sell out, standing room only. Talk to me about the environment and the support you're getting, not only on campus, but within the community.
Yeah, I think it was Tuesday when tickets went on sale, and I went down to the ticket office, to get some for, make sure I get some for my family. And Mike Karen says, we're an hour and a half in, and we've sold 1,400 tickets. So by the time the afternoon came, we were sold out. I think it was 4 or 5 hours we were sold out for the game. And went into the lift at that time. We had a little bit of a weight room lift with the team, and told them that news. That just added an extra buzz for us. But yeah, students came back up for the game. We had alumni came to the game from New York and Massachusetts, and I think Maryland. Kind of flew up. I had teammates when I was at University of Maine, who came up for the game. When I started hearing that people were making plans, to be there, and these are the same conversations that are happening to be at Syracuse. So we're hoping to get some tickets for a crew coming over to Syracuse this weekend.
That game's going to be Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. in Syracuse. It is the NCAA tournament, the Elite Eight. We're talking with Rob Dow, head coach of UVM men's soccer here. Now, you've already played Syracuse this year. You played them to a draw in the regular season. Earlier in the tournament, you beat Quinnipiac, a team you had seen earlier in the year who had beaten you. How does that familiarity from earlier in the season help now, or is it not really relevant because teams change over the course of a couple of months?
Yeah, teams get better, teams improve. From a tactical, a strategy standpoint, both teams haven't changed since that game. So the game prep is probably, it's a little bit lighter because the unknown opponent playing in a different region against a team from a completely different, side of the country makes our strategy, and game prep and knowing the speed of play against SMU and UCLA, that it takes a little bit more time to prep. Now, in region, two similar or close to in region, two similar opponents, two similar teams, who counterattack really well, defend really well, very athletic. Both teams are very athletic. I think we'll be focused more on matchup play and then we will be the X's and O's in the match.
You guys lost in the conference tournament to UAlbany, upset 1-0. How did your team rebound from a disappointment of not winning a conference championship to now going on the run that you're on?
Yeah, I've been thinking about those two Albany games. The team has two, and I think in the semifinal against Albany, we had 3 goal-scoring opportunities that were pretty clear-cut, and with a high percentage chance of scoring in the first half. And we get into this, kind of second half, and I felt like Albany gained some confidence in their defensive, strategy to defend the top of their box and in their box really, really well. And that tilted in their favor. We got a little frustrated. We got probably a little doubt that we may not score. But you look at how the team has grown since then, especially in the Quinnipiac game, going down in the game, staying confident our chances are still going to come in the match. We're going to get chances and have that self-confidence to execute. Same thing happened, you talk about the growth of the team at SMU going down 2-0 in the game. Let's stay confident our chances are going to come and we're going to be able to execute. And I think we reaped the benefits here against UCLA, and with a 3-0 performance. It's our most complete performance all year, hands down.
I mentioned you guys being far more than a plucky underdog. Talk to me about the America East, because what I think a lot of people probably don't grasp, we think of the America East in a conference like basketball as a low major, but in soccer, it really is a power. You guys nationally ranked, UNH nationally ranked, UAlbany's been ranked and been in the tournament before. So there's a lot of depth to this conference. So how has this conference really prepared you to be as deep into the tournament as you are?
Our conference opponents can compete against anyone in the country. I think it's a special soccer conference, and you've got experience like UMBC in 2014 who made it to the Final Four, and you spoke in Albany. I think in 2016 they were in the third round as well, and UNH in their recent success, and we're battle tested. And by the time we get to the tournament, so UNH and us, we have a really good rivalry, and I think we mutually respect, that competitiveness between each of us, and we need it. We need each other to be ready, and they have a top program, and I really admire their staff. And but when we're talking about being fearless, with the big names and SMU and UCLA, we can move past that and know that. With UNH 2-1 result at home in October, that we can play against anyone in the country.
I'm asking this question ignorantly. I really want to know, why is the America East able to be so good at soccer? We see this in lacrosse where the Northeast dominates the landscape for the most part, except out in Denver, there's not as much lacrosse. Out west or in the South, soccer is played everywhere. So talk to me about why you're able to have this high concentration of talent in this league in particular.
I think they're really good coaches in the league. Pete Caringi and Trevor Gorman, Mark Hubbard. These guys, they've got a lot of experience. They've been at top programs, or a guy like Pete Caringi's been at UMBC for 30 plus years, and I've learned a lot from each one of those coaching staffs. But I think when it extends down to it, they recruit really good players, and nationally, internationally, and there's no kind of denying it. The level of international player that comes into the conference, they've got a lot of experience playing against top teams in European pro academies, or these top end amateur leagues where guys are coming from abroad who have experience playing against men. Now you get that type of experience, you bring in conference, and we're competing against 18, 19-year-olds, and our 20, 21-year-olds just have a greater level of confidence in themselves. And you talk about Adu Solano on our team, or Yves Bory, and Matt Black, this type of thing. These guys from abroad, they don't really know who SMU is. You talk about kind of like that household name to be feared as a kid. You're talking UCLA soccer, UCLA men's soccer. I think they have the second most national championships of any other college program. And Adu Solano's like, who's UCLA? I don't know. Just played against a good team. So I think a little bit of that ignorance helps some. But going back to the question here, there's some top level coaches in our league, and we're excited to continue to compete against them in October.
I'll get you out of here on this. It's been nearly just about 20 years for you in college coaching, right? Not all of that at UVM, but you were an assistant before you got the head coaching job. What does this run mean to you personally? I know you're going to tell me it's not about you, it's about the players, but what does it mean to you personally?
Yeah, I think a lot about, my path as a coach, and I've really appreciated the experience I've gotten at all levels in the college game and in the youth game. Saturday night, 3-0 win against UCLA, it's at the top. It's top for me, top for our coaching staff. They did a great job preparing for it. For my family, really happy. My parents drove 14 hours from Halifax, Nova Scotia to be here for the game, and drove right back, and anyway, it's a really special moment. I'm trying to allow myself to enjoy it, even though not looking too forward against Syracuse. But I know after the season's over, it's something to really be proud of.
Elite Eight, UVM, Syracuse, Saturday, 2 p.m. Be there, everybody. If you can get tickets, be there. So, Rob Dow, head coach, UVM men's soccer, congratulations on a great run, and not over just yet. We'll talk to you again down the road, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks again, Brady.
Absolutely. I hope we're talking to Coach Dow again next week, because if we are, it means his team is advanced to the Final Four. This is a great run. And look, I don't want to be a hypocrite, right? I've told you all this. Soccer, I don't love soccer. I don't consider it a fun sport to watch. But that said, I am all in on anything locally that means something, right? UVM men's soccer. This is a run that I am in on. Yes, when the World Cup ends and this ends, I will go back to not caring about soccer. That is very true. I will not be a hypocrite. But I am all in on local storylines that mean something, whether it's skiing, which I don't claim to know everything about, Michaela Schifrin coming back to town at Killington this weekend, whether it is Owen Kellington getting drafted, Amanda Pellet. I'm all in on anything locally that means something. And this run mean something. It really is cool to see, and it really is interesting too, because it is a fascinating middle ground I have to find. I really don't know how to contextualize this run, because I live in such a basketball-centric world, and I'm like, you know what? Oh, my God, an America East team is in the Elite Eight? Wow, unbelievable. That's a St. Peter's basketball-style run. That's where my gut goes to. But that really is doing a disservice to how good UVM is and how good the conference is. UVM is number 8 in the country this year. This isn't a plucky underdog. This isn't St. Peter's last year as a 15 seed getting to the Elite Eight. This isn't that. But I also don't want to take it for granted and be like, well, hey, they're ranked high, so foregone conclusion, because that's not the case either. This hasn't happened in 33 years. First time since 1989 that this program has gotten to an Elite Eight. This doesn't happen every day. It is special, and you should be buying into it. So it's not the upset that maybe our mind thinks it is, but it's also not the given that maybe sometimes we like to think that it would be for a team that's really high ranked. It's very, very cool. And that game Saturday at 2 will be on the road at Syracuse. And I did like what Coach Dow had to say. Like, look, they got a lot of foreigners on that team. And that team, they're not afraid of, a team like UCLA. There is some ignorance there. And I think also the age does matter. He talks about getting men playing against high schoolers. We see the same thing in hockey. Right? 24-year-old senior is a lot different than a true freshman who might come in at 18. That's absolutely a thing that matters. I'm looking right now at the UVM roster. Right? I'm looking right now at the UVM roster. They got players that played in the under-17 Canadian youth national team. We got kids that have played in Germany, that have played for high-level club teams there. They've got some transfers in the portal from places like Garrett Lilly, who scored the game-winning goal against SMU. It's a transfer from Coastal Carolina. Another kid from Frankfurt, Germany. Another kid from Germany. Another kid from Iceland, Israel. I mean, we're talking again about really far-reaching recruiting efforts. The UK, Rob Dow and his team have done a great job. So, and there's a couple of Burlington natives, or a couple of Vermonters on this team as well. So, done a good job at finding some local talent. So, very, very cool. Again, Saturday at 2 p.m. There were some people there that were asking for UVM soccer coverage. Well, there you go. By the way, I also want to shout out UVM women's basketball. They won their TD Bank Classic this weekend. They defeated Stonehill on Saturday, and then Siena yesterday, 57-51. Good 14-point effort from CVU product Catherine Gilwey, who had a couple of threes. I think she was 4 of 7 from 3 in that game, if I'm remembering correctly, and Emma Otterbeck had 20 points. So good to see Elisa Kresge's team back over 500 now at 4-3 on the year. The podcast, remember, comes out every day right after this show ends. You'll be able to pick it up for free on the Brady Farkas Show podcast channel and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and WDEVradio.com. 498,000 total downloads. I don't know what we're going to do when we get to 500,000, but it's going to be this week or next week that we do it. We are going to hit the 500,000 download mark this week or next week. I can't wait to do it. And I'm going to be, going to get emotional, and thank you all for listening again, like I do at most times when we hit cool numbers. But 500,000 is certainly a big number. All of our interviews, all of our shows are always there. Like earlier today, this was cool. It was actually really fun for me. Earlier today, I spoke with Sam Hyman. It's a name you may know, you may not, but Sam Hyman used to be the broadcaster for the UVM men's basketball team on the radio. And when I worked at another station, Sam and I worked together. He would do the games. I would be in the studio producing the live broadcast. So for 2 full seasons, Sam and I worked together. And then he's gone on and he does games all over the country. He stays in the South a lot, but all over the country for ESPN and ESPN-related outlets. Well, he was down in the Bahamas. He called the television games for UVM in the Bahamas. So I connected with him today. I connected with him from the Miami airport. He joined us somewhere from, gate C3 before his flight at the Miami airport as he got back into the States. And we talked. The audio was not great. That's why I did not air it on the show. Think about it. You're at an airport. People are walking by you. People are talking next to you. At one point, the loudspeaker, all passengers boarding, come to gate C4. That was all going on. So the audio wasn't great. That's why I didn't play it. But the full interview is available on that podcast channel, and we'll play some of the clips probably tomorrow on the show, some of the clips that did come out great. But, it's just a chance. That's the kind of stuff that is on the podcast channel, despite the fact that you won't always see it here on the show. So when we come back, the New England Patriots did not win on the field on Thursday. They didn't win in the standings yesterday. But they won in one very special way this weekend. I'll tell you what that is next on WDEV AM and FM.
Folks, to say the least, it's been a challenging year for consumers, not just on gas and groceries, but vehicles too. At Lamoille Valley Ford, that ends today. Tell them, kids.
We have over 400 new vehicles either on the ground or in the pipeline, and we're ready to make deals. Right now, at Lamoille Valley Ford, we're taking $2,000 off MSRP on any in-stock Escape or Explorer. When you combine that huge Lamoille Valley Ford discount with factory incentives, returning lessees can take up to $3,000 off MSRP. That's right. That's $3,000 below MSRP. Also, qualified buyers can combine that with 3.9% financing. Or how about this smoke and lease deal? Right now, returning lessees can lease a brand new, fuel-efficient 22 Escape for just $299 per month with only $3,900 cash or trade due at signing. The best part is you don't have to wait 6 months for your vehicle to be ordered. These 400 available units are either in stock or arriving shortly.
Woo! The bottom line is at Lamoille Valley Ford, we're not going to miss a deal. So drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick and let Lamoille Valley Ford show you we know price matters.
For some people, all they need to know about weather is the high temperature for the day. But if you're one of those people who really wants to understand the hows and whys of weather, especially here in the Green Mountain State, then Roger Hill's Weather Classroom podcast is for you. Some of the topics I'll explore are the types of precipitation, global temperature averages, and tropical cyclones. Roger Hill's Weather Classroom podcast is available at WDEVradio.com, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music.
For fun holiday shopping, take a ride to Bragg Farm Sugar House and Gift Shop. You'll find several varieties of fresh-cut Christmas trees grown in East Montpelier and balsam wreaths decorated right at the farm. Check off that shopping list with candles, soaps, Vermont shirts, and our wonderful stuffed toy department. And no holiday is complete without Vermont tasty treats. Bragg Farm's own maple syrup, maple cured bacon, jams, jellies, and lots of good Vermont cheese. Bragg Farm Sugar House and Gift Shop, 1 mile north of East Montpelier Village on Route 14 North. Open 8:30 to 5, closed Wednesday.
Deer season is over, but Radio Vermont's biggest buck contest tradition of a $300 gift certificate from Johnson Woolen Mills continues. Simply come closest to correctly guessing the weight of the biggest rifle season buck registered with Vermont Fish and Wildlife as of December 7th without going over. If you're 18 or older, send your guest's name, address, and phone number to P.O. Box 550 Waterbury, email WDEV@radiovermont.com, or register your guests at Johnson Woolen Mills, Main Street, Johnson. Wear it for a lifetime. But hurry, entry deadline is December 4th.
The Country Home Center is a virtual candy store for any craftsman on your Christmas list. We carry rechargeable battery-powered tools up to 20 volts, air tools for any welders, and welding accessories. We have so many tools for every purpose and budget. Maybe a gift certificate at Country Home Center will make things easier. While you're here, consider a gift of home safety with a new smoke or carbon monoxide alarm at the Country Home Center junctions of Routes 15 and 100 Morrisville.
New England Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, proudly supporting local government, local businesses, and WDEV. Whatever your interest, sports.
I think the Celtics are
current events.
We're stepping the primary campaign up a bit. If you do get the tomato hornworm, you're going to see them a lot sooner.
Weather.
You may have heard of the word derecho. What is the derecho? Well,
WDEV has a podcast for you. Locally produced podcasts of our own shows and podcasts from our partners at CBS and ESPN. To access the full listing of podcasts, go to our website at WDEVradio.com.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, right here on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Jazz with George Thomas is coming up next, on from 7 until 9, and Eye on the World with John Batchelor. Our show is brought to you in part by Pro Driver Training. That's Pro Driver Training, Vermont's premier truck driver training school, online at ProDriverCDL.com. I want to get to something Mac Jones said in a moment, but I do want to point this out. I want to give credit to Robert Kraft, right? Off the field, the Patriots do a lot of good, and Robert Kraft does a lot of good. And I don't know if you saw this over the weekend, but one of the two Patriots team planes allowed the University of Virginia football players and staff to attend out-of-state funerals for their teammates who were killed in that deadly shooting, right? Undoubtedly, you've seen this story by now. 3 Virginia football players shot by a former Virginia football player and killed. 3 players killed. There were more, injured, but 3 players killed by a former Virginia football player. And Robert Kraft gave the team plane to the University of Virginia's football team to be able to go to those funerals in different states. And I don't have any more details on it than that in terms of the logistics or where they went or et cetera, but none of that really matters. What matters is that Robert Kraft, again, did a great thing, right? And I remember Robert Kraft using the Patriots team plane at the beginning of the pandemic to bring PPE, the personal protective equipment that we all needed. I remember him delivering vaccines, I believe, overseas to a Latin American country, if memory serves me right. I remember he allowed the Patriots team plane last year to take Providence staffers and fans to go watch Providence in the NCAA tournament. I mean, that's cool stuff, right? We can say whatever we want about the Patriots on the field, and that's all fair. But off the field, Robert Kraft does a lot of good. And he made a massive donation to a hospital earlier this year, the biggest in the hospital's history. I just can't remember. It was Dana-Farber Cancer Institute or somewhere else, but it was the biggest in that hospital's history. Robert Kraft continues to be a great philanthropist and continues to do a lot of good in the community. So beyond, look, we talk about football, we talk about sports, and that's all fair. That's our job. But don't let it not be said that Robert Kraft does not do a lot of good with his money and with his resources. And that's something that, as a Patriots fan, we should all be proud to see. So a terrible, terrible story, a tragic story, but a good human effort there by Robert Kraft. All right, I want to turn it back to football. I'm going to get to who's saying what.
Whoa. What did he say?
They have an expensive but totally unimpressive receiving core, and they have at absolute best, at most charitable, the 9th best quarterback in their own conference.
They really said that?
Every damn thing is politics and race, and I'm losing my mind over it.
It's time for Who's Saying What on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
I think Mac Jones showed a lot of maturity on Thursday night, right? Patriots lost to the Vikings. I believe the Patriots got screwed. The Hunter Henry play, I believe, was a catch. I believe that it was a touchdown. It took a touchdown off the board. The Patriots ended up losing by a touchdown. After the game, Mac Jones was asked about that play.
I think obviously, the refs have a job to do, and they looked at the review and ruled it incomplete. So we got to move on from that play and play the rest of the game. There's plenty of time left, and there's other times we could have punched it in, and that wouldn't even have been an issue. So kind of the same story there, but did some good things. Obviously not good enough in the long run, and one call can't determine the outcome. We got to be able to do better, so it's not even close.
I love that answer. And I know it may seem small, and I know it may seem obvious, but if we are going to crush Zach Wilson nationally as fans and as media for not doing the right thing at the post-game press conference, we should absolutely praise Mac Jones for doing the right thing at the post-game press conference. Mac Jones said that perfectly. So if Zach Wilson gets all the blame, then Mac deserves the praise. We're going to analyze post-game press conferences with a fine-tooth comb and how it plays in the locker room, etc., how it goes over in the media, and how former players view it. If that's what we're going to do, let's give Mac Jones some credit, because I hate. It's one of my absolute pet peeves as a fan, and it's even more of a pet peeve of mine as a radio host. I hate when people blame losses on officiating. I hate when people blame losses on one call, because I got news for you, people. It is never, ever about one call. One call can absolutely have an impact. One call can impact an outcome, but one call does not make an outcome ever. The Patriots had plenty of chances, as Mac Jones says, to win that game and didn't. They screwed up several times. One call did not cost them the game. The Hunter Henry call was big. I believe the Hunter Henry call was wrong. But as Max says, we had other chances to make sure that it never came down to that. Patriots went 0 of 3 in the red zone. Again, another day of red zone issues. And I thought Mac Jones overall was very good on Thursday. Best game of the year for him. But 0 of 3 in the red zone, it's a persistent problem. The Vikings were last in the NFL in red zone defense, and the Patriots could not punch in the ticket once. That is inexcusable. You cannot have that. 3 chances to get a touchdown in that game from inside the 20, you got 0. Right? 3 drives inside the 20, you got 0. Right? That costs you the game more than one Hunter Henry call. The Patriots also, look, they took an awful running into the punter penalty by Pierre Strong. That extended a drive, and that was the drive that allowed the Vikings to win the game. The game-winning touchdown for Minnesota comes as a result, a direct result of the drive extending because of a running into the punter penalty. The Patriots took 6 penalties for 55 yards. The Pats were 3 of 10 on third down. They had clock management issues at the end of the first half. They had to take a timeout on defense, which they could have needed. They allowed the kickoff return for a touchdown from Minnesota in the second half. This game had blights all over it for New England. This game was not about the refs. And I thought Mac Jones handled it perfectly. And I thought he said it perfectly after the game. And I give him a lot of credit for that. Because as a quarterback, what Zach Wilson is learning, you are the CEO. And people are looking at you. And people are analyzing what you say. And Mac Jones said everything right. And I give a lot of respect to people who just get up and say the right things. Right? You gotta play well also. But if you say the right things, that goes a long way with people. And in that locker room. And Mac did a good job. Text comes in, Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury, text line 802-585-3026. Okay. Couple other things on the text line that I will leave there. Let's take a break. We'll come back. A story that I didn't think I would be interested in, but I'm interested in, from the world of college football. We might have talked 5 minutes of college football the entire season. This story has my interest. I'm going to tell you what that is next on DEV.
Mackenzie Meats, the family tradition. Special memories are made when family and friends come together. It's a time to decorate the table, a time to look your best, a time to use your manners, and a time to hear the stories people tell. Good times and good food go hand in hand. Premium meats and cheeses since 1907. It all comes together for moments like these. Make it special. Make it Mackenzie.
Shop amazing this holiday season when you shop in Montpelier, USA Today's #1 best small town for shopping. More than 40 unique, locally owned stores offer products and service you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at montpelieralive.org/holidays.
Relax and unwind at Montpelier's Neighborhood Boutique Spa. Give yourself the gift of self-care or a loved one with a gift certificate from Capital Spa. Their new team members offer exceptional services to their clients, including massages, body waxing, facials, infrared sauna sessions, and lawn probe cosmetic services. Go to CapitalSpaVT.com to schedule your self-care appointment or to purchase a gift certificate. The Skinny Pancake, serving sweet and savory crepes in downtown Montpelier. Open 7 days a week with breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert, including a full bar and burgers. Additional locations in Stowe, Queechee, and Burlington. Reservations and online ordering at skinnypancake.com.
I'm Dr. Stork. Why give your family just ordinary eggs when they can enjoy the best? Eggland's Best. The only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition compared to ordinary eggs. With 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, 25% less saturated fat, and 38% more lutein. Because the way we care is anything but ordinary. Only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalize this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Just happy to be here. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Sometimes families go through hard times and they need a little help. That's where you come in. By becoming licensed foster parents, you can have a profound effect on the lives of children, young adults, and families in your community. You'll provide children with kindness, understanding, and a stable place to live until they can reunite with their families. You'll give them time to heal, grow, learn new things, and develop connections with other caring adults. This will give the parents time to work on their issues and figure things out. You can care for the child of a relative, friend, or someone else in your community. All kinds of foster families are needed to care for children of all ages, needs, and backgrounds. To learn how your family can help another Vermont family, go to fostercare.vt.gov. That's fostercare.vt.gov. All families need help sometimes. When you help a family to get stronger, you lift up the entire community. Sponsored by Vermont Department for Children and Families.
The world is a constantly changing place, and being informed has never been more important. This is Steve Kathan. WDEV, Vermont's news station, and CBS provide you with up-to-the-minute news and information. Whether it's top and bottom of the hour news, breaking news, or special events, if Vermonters need to know, you can trust that WDEV and CBS will inform you. WDEV, keeping an eye on Vermont, while CBS keeps an eye on the world. Think you know sports better than Brady does? Text in with your thoughts at 802-585-3026.
This is former NFL wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson, and now we're back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV Radio and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Steven Faiston says on the text line that the running into the kicker call on Pierre Strong was weak at best. The punter went down like a soccer player. Steve, I disagree. This is blatant running into the kicker. I'm watching the highlight right now. The kicker kicks the ball at right on the yard marker. Pierre Strong is 2 full yards away from the kicker after the ball was kicked, right? So the ball is kicked. Pierre Strong is 2 full yards away and then continues to keep going and runs into him. This is classic running into the kicker. It was 4th and 3, so why are you even making it close? Like, unless you're going to block the ball, you better get the hell out of the way. And Bill Belichick, of all people, knows that, right? If you're going to go, like, you better block it, or you better get the hell out of the way. That is classic running into the kicker, and it was one of several Patriots' mistakes. They got the most holding penalties on offense. They got 25, I think, pre-snap penalties I saw this year, 0 of 3 in the red zone. The Patriots, it stinks because they played well enough to win that game, but they also cost themselves a lot in that game as well. I've got an interesting text here about the Patriots defense that I want to get to tomorrow, and we'll probably talk about it with Bob Sosi as well tomorrow. But I I haven't been interested in college football much of the year, right? Like here in the Northeast, college football just doesn't really exist to us, right? We don't have a team to hang on to. It's not that big for us, so I don't spend a lot of time talking about it. I'll watch it occasionally, but I don't spend a lot of time talking about it. I am very interested in what happens with Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, coach at Jackson State, 11-0 this year, got his team playing, and I think it's the Celebration Bowl again. 11-0. His kid is a dynamite quarterback. Coach Prime is getting major offers. Colorado's already got an offer to him in the Pac-12. I know South Florida wants him to be their coach. Maybe even Georgia Tech might want him to be their coach. So I'm very fascinated as to what's going to happen with Deion Sanders. Like, I just find the whole thing fascinating because Deion is a dynamite recruiter, right? The personality of Deion is a dynamite recruiter. That's a huge selling point. Would his fame play as well in Boulder, Colorado? I'd be fascinated in finding out, right? Deion never played for the Broncos, doesn't have a Colorado footprint. Could he get kids from Florida and California to come join him in Colorado? I don't know. His star definitely plays in the South, right? He played for the Cowboys. He played for the Falcons. Maybe it would play out west. He played for the 49ers, but Deion's also older now, so are the kids going off of him, or are they going off just his ability to get into the NFL? He's restored football within the historically black colleges and universities, at least at Jackson State, I should say. Does he want to keep that up? If he leaves, does he feel like he's done enough? Is he letting him down? I don't know. I am fascinated as to where, and if Deion leaves, how many of his players at Jackson State are going to transfer with him? How many players are going to transfer other places to go play for Deion? I mean, the transfer portal is the wild, wild west. And Deion could be just the king of the wild, wild west with the transfer portal. I am fascinated as to where he ends up. Because, I watch a lot of Deion stuff on YouTube. He's a great speaker to his team. He really resonates with his players. So I think he could do a good job anywhere. I'll just be fascinated where he ends up. It is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. We are going to have a Jazz with George Thomas. That is coming up next, 7 until 9. Then Eye on the World with John Batchelor. Tomorrow, we've already got a very busy day. Bob Sosi's going to be with us, the voice of the Patriots. He's going to be with us live at 5:45. I'm going to talk with Coach Brennan in the morning tomorrow, and we're going to see exactly what I do with that interview. Maybe I'll play the whole thing. It's been a couple of weeks since we've talked to him. I need his opinions on this team being 2-7 right now as they come back to get ready for NBU Linden on Thursday. I'm not 100% positive, but we'll figure it out. Go download the podcast channel, everybody. Brady Farkas Show, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We'll see you tomorrow here on DEV.
It's a winter wonderland of magical joy this